so the first thing we'll do, these are the two laser boxes. This one is the 785 laser. This one's the 539 nanometer laser. There are instructions here. So the first instruction is just to turn the key. We're going to turn both on, so we'll turn this key to the side here, and then also this one. And then in another minute, we'll come back and push the button. Alright, so now that it's been about 1 minute, we'll go ahead and push the buttons. So they're right about here in the middle. So we'll click this one, and we'll click this one. On this side, there's two green lights, so if they light up, that means you've turned it on successfully. Alright, so this is going to be our Igloo. This is going to be where all the sample prep happens. If you ever want to open up Igloo, the first thing is just make sure that, one, this filter is set to 1. Number 4 is going to be the laser, so we don't want that in our way when we're working on the sample, but we'll switch it back to this when we want to run our measurement. But for now, if we want to open up and do sample prep, switch it to 1. And then this is just like a path for like the mirror, so right now it's on the light bulb, so that's where we want it if we're going to open up the Igloo. But once we want to switch to our measurement, then we'll spin the dial and have it on set to the laser. But again, right now we're going to work on sample prep, so we'll switch it back to the light bulb. To open up the door, you just click the door release, and then we'll slide this Igloo open. This is going to be our sample stage, so it goes back and forth, right to left, so you can kind of move it around. This piece can go back and forth, so if you're trying to put like a glass slide in, you can pull it back and then lock it in place. And then on our left side, so we've got this light switch. Please always remember to turn this off and on when you're done with your measurement. So right now we'll turn it on. So this is the calibration piece, and then we're going to go ahead and install it. So to do that, we're going to first just make sure that this stage, you can raise and lower it using this knob on the right side. So we'll get it nice and low, and then you can put the calibration piece in, like so. Move this back, and then we want to line it up. So this is just has a light out right now. We want to make sure it's roughly in the center. And then later on, if you need to switch your objective, so this is the 5x objective, you can just spin it to get to the 20 and also the 50. You'll always want to start with the lowest mag first, get it focused, and then slowly work your way up. And we'll go ahead and switch to the computer. So we're going to open up wire 5.6. On the screen, it might look something like this initially while it's in 5x. So we want to focus it. So you can kind of move the stage around. I've gotten it to an edge already, so you can tell it's an edge because it's like kind of dark on one side and light on the other. And then if we raise and lower the stage, just make sure you're checking to make sure it does not crash into the microscope objective. So just be checking it periodically as you're raising and lower, and also look at the computer. If it looks like this isn't quite focused yet, but if you continue to raise it just a little more, it should look something like this. So that's fairly nicely focused. And then we can go ahead and move the objective to 20x. And then once you're in 20 or 50x, you'll definitely want to start using this like stage mouse over here. So we switched to 20x, so that's going to be the upper left button. So we'll click this button, and then now if we kind of spin this circle in the middle of it, it'll raise and lower the z-axis very gently, and we can go ahead and focus even further, move it around, get to a nice spot. So once that looks good, we're going to close up the Igloo. Make sure we change the filter over to 4, and then from the light bulb to the laser, so that's all ready to go. We also want to double check also your grading. So right now we're using the 532 laser. So if you're using the 532, make sure it's matched to the 1800 grading. If you're using the 75 laser, then use the 1200 grading. So we'll go to measurement, and then now we're going to just run that calibration. So for this, we'll just do static, so quick run. If you go to the acquisition tab, we're going to leave most of this as it is. And then we're just going to call this calibration. And then you just always want to check these two. So restore instrument state to on completion, and then close the laser on completion as well. So we'll click apply and then hit OK. And then now we're ready to run our calibration measurement. So on this upper left, we'll hit run, and then we'll run that. So once you've ran your calibration, we want to make sure it's right exactly at 520, because that's where silicon will have its peak at. So if we right click on this and we go to tools, and then go to curve fit, you can just click roughly where the peak is, and then if you right click and then click start fit, then it'll go ahead and fit that peak. So right now it's at 519.665, so really close to 520. If you're plus or minus like 1, then that's fine. But we'll just show you how to do an offset so that you know what to do if it's ever off. So if you go to tools, and then calibration, and then we'll click on offset. So what it's going to do here is it's going to subtract the offset. So right now we're at 519.665. So let's say we want to shift that up by 0.335. So we're actually going to do a minus 0.335. And that's going to go ahead and, so it'll like subtract that from, so if you subtract a negative number, you'll add it, and then it'll get to 520. So just remember the sign's always a little bit off from what you might think it should be. And we'll click on that. And just to double check that that offset worked, we're going to just quickly run another calibration. So like that. And then we'll just double check on that peak. Okay, so now it's at 519.966, so we know that we offset in the correct direction, because sometimes people go in the other direction, it gets worse. So yeah, if you're within plus or minus 1, you're good to go. So now you get ready to load your sample. So you can go ahead and just always remember, switch the filter back to 1, and then to the light bulb. You should be able to kind of see a camera view, and then you can go ahead and open up the Igloo, load up your sample, and then we'll show you how to run your sample. Alright, so we're just going to show you how to run a measurement just using our standard. So switch that over, the filter to 4, and then back to the laser. And then we'll go to measurement again to run a measurement on our actual sample. This time, instead of static, we'll do extended. So you can change the range that it runs your spectra, so whatever you like. And then if we go to acquisition, so exposure, you can leave that alone. Laser power though, so if you've never run a Raman sample on your sample before, I would recommend starting at like 0.1 laser power, because the higher laser power may give you like, some better like resolution, but if you burn your sample, then that's not very useful. So we want to make sure we're not burning it. So start at a low laser power and then work your way up. We know that we can run the silicon at full power, but again, work your way up and just kind of incrementally go up to make sure you're not burning. And then you can also do multiple accumulations. So this will just kind of do 3 sort of measurements, add them together, and it should help your signal to noise. So that's a good way to just, it'll make the scan longer, but it'll help your signal to noise without burning. And then we're just gonna call this silicon. And then we'll go ahead and click these 2 tabs as well. Another thing also is file, so you can make a file name and then it'll save to a given folder. So you can find whatever lab you want to stick it in, and then we can just run that. And then it'll just save the data there. So once everything's good, make sure you hit apply, and then we'll hit OK. And then now we're ready to run our actual measurement. This will take a bit longer, but yeah, we'll see you when it's done. Alright, so once you've finished running your scan, some quick things you can do. So if you right click and go to tools, there's a whole mess of things you can adjust and play with. One thing that is often done is subtract baseline, so that's something we can do. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click accept to that. Okay, so now we can go ahead, we want to save our data. We'll go to file, save file as, and then we'll go ahead and we can save that. So you can name your file. If you save it as a wire file, then you can open it up in his computer again, use our tools, processing, things like that. But if you want to export it as a TXT, you can do that as well. So we recommend saving it as both a wire data, save it, and then go back, save file as, and then also export it as a TXT. So we always recommend both, just in case. And then once you're good with that, you can take down. So you can just exit out of the program, and we'll show you how to remove your sample and then turn off the laser as well. To finish up, we'll make sure to switch this back to the light bulb, and then switch this to bright field, and then we'll take the door release, open up, and then just make sure to switch this back to 5x. It's just a further distance away, so you have less of a chance of running into your sample. We also want to go ahead and try to lower it. Again, just making sure we don't run into the objective. This is very expensive for when we're removing our sample. So we just use a calibration piece, so we'll put that back here. The light over here on this bottom left side, we want to make sure we turn that guy off. And then just generally always make sure the sample is nice and low so the next person can go ahead and use it. But once you've got your sample, make sure you take it out, and then we'll close up. And then just make sure we turn off the lasers. Alright, so to turn off the lasers is just the opposite of the directions to turn it on. So the first thing we'll do is first we'll push the button. So we'll do that for each of them. And then we'll turn the key back to where they were initially. And then they're off. The instrument does stay on, so once you've done that, you're ready to go.